7.
Oh,
Where are you, Mike?
I'm in Siesta Key,
Oh, okay.
The
and Brad is
recording's
in
on, just to
Orlando.
let you know.
Where are you, Brad?
I'm in Orlando
Nice.
at the Hilton Grand Vacation Club SeaWorld.
I love SeaWorld.
Me too.
Yeah. Go to Gatorland too. It's a
Yeah,
fun half
Discovery
day,
Cove is right down the street.
right? Very good.
Yeah, I've got I was telling Brad, I have all the kids and grandkids coming today, so imagine I will take Thatcher to go see some gators.
Good
You got
stuff.
tickets for the game tomorrow, don't you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, he's going, and I got 2 more standing room only tickets, just so that Luke and Lisa can go, and he's not going to sit in that seat very long, so
Right.
probably play a lot of tag you're it, so whatever.
Well, I am with treats and gifts or whatever.
That's
Then
easy.
send it back to his mom.
That's easy for Pop to do. So
Very
anyway,
nice. Very nice. What I was thinking, because the video I put about the healing begins on the phone, I didn't know if you guys had any other insights on that you would share.
um, I it wasn't until probably I started with WLP after I wasn't coaching with my uncle anymore that that was one of the first things we were taught, wasn't it, Brad? That it starts with the phone call.
First phone call, yes.
Yeah. Who would ever thought of that, right? We got to the point, Terrence, that I actually mounted mirrors
Yep.
like underneath the front desk so the girls could check their facial expression before they even answered the phone.
Yeah, we had one, mirror and smile.
Yeah, yeah,
Smile.
yeah. And the phone call to this day is the answer is still the same way it was back then, right?
Yeah, that hasn't changed.
No, this is
The concepts are the same, just making sure your
yeah,
people stick with it.
yeah. Yeah, Gail, was always, we never said, I can help you. We always said, no, we didn't say, how can I help you? We definitely said, I can help you.
Mhm.
Right.
Patio Chiropractic, this is Gail, I can help you. So it was an emphatic statement. The other thing that we did is that if it was a new patient phone call, the question was, is this for you or your whole family?
Correct.
So, yeah, it always started that way. All of our, whatever you want to call them, systems, policies, procedures, they were always very principally based. Anything that we said was based in lifetime chiropractic care, right?
Right.
So,
Well, I think the other thing that is always hard to share in a script is with training is put yourself into the script. Anybody, we've all had telemarketing where you get a call and somebody's reading the script
yeah,
versus putting yourself into it, right? That, hey, Mike referred me to the office. Oh my gosh, Mike's a great patient. We're so excited. We take care of his whole family, whatever it might be. I was in a car accident. Oh my gosh, I've been in a car accident myself. You called the right place. I heard Dr. McAuliffe is good, or Dr. Martin, or Dr. Wright. He's the best. He's my chiropractor. All those things that become important as opposed to just reading a page and filling in the blanks. The other part that we would practice, I'm sure you guys did too, was that they actually filled out that paper, the script. So it's I'm sure you had it, same thing. We have them by the phones, but I would battle with certain people that they would omit. Now they get the appointment, don't get me wrong, but they might not put the address, or they might not put the patient's phone number, or whatever, any number of things, or it was sloppy. I would even say, go back and redo it, fill it out nice. This is important. This is the person's first contact, but it also shows you were paying attention, right?
Yeah.
those sorts of things. And, I would keep one that was well filled out by a staff person and one that was not, right? And I'd show any team member, like, this is how it's supposed to look. This means you were engaged. This means you were in it to win it, all those different statements. Uh, so very important. And that was something I try to get them to do 5 practice calls every week with each other, break down the meeting and then just go and do another call as if, a car accident, a family,
Yeah.
whatever, fill in the blank, pain, whatever it might be. So they'd have the whole thing. People that are in a hurry, people that want a quick adjustment, right? How do you screen, all those different things. So like you said, my principle for your practice, it is
Mhm.
your practice. Who do you want? What do you want? Um, don't just get pushed around on the call. That the other thing I'd always find, if they scheduled a new patient and it was 10:15, I was always like, you lost control of that call. We don't schedule new patients at 10:15, right? It's either 10 or 11, whatever it might be, whatever your parameters were.
Yeah, right.
If somebody was scheduled at 10:15, I'd be like, well, how did that happen? Right? That means you weren't use the word control. I don't like control, but you weren't the authority leading the patient, right, with the right questions along the phone call.
Yeah. Yeah.
We tried to train on that as live as possible. My experience being a football and baseball coach, we always did walkthroughs and practice sessions trying to recreate a live experience. And you have to train your team members at first how to do it with ease. The patient is answering the questions that you want them to, and there's no objections. And once they master that, then they can move into that objection management. Like, well, I can't come in at 10, but I can come in at 10:15. How do you handle those situations?
Right.
It's always like what we did in baseball. There's a man on first and second. I'm going to hit you the ball. What are you going to do with it? So you want to make sure that your team members are well practiced and well rehearsed in how to handle those situations.
What's the old saying? The way you do one thing is the way you do everything, right?
Right.
That's
the other
tough
one
to
we
do,
talk
but
about. You fall to your level of
highest training or
how's that work out? What's that saying? Your level of playing always falls down to your level of practice, something like that.
your lowest level.
Lowest level of practice,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to be very
And
careful.
that's the truth.
Yeah.
When you're inside a conflict or objection, yeah, you play to the level of your lowest practice or your lowest training, right? Speaking of that, I know we trained every week with our team. Terrence, did you train every week?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Core things. And it really came down to always practice those new patient calls.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's, I wanted them to have new patients on their mind, right? And how they were going to process them. It's a core script that then if they can do it, they can, if you can learn one script, you can learn any one, quicker on top of that, kind of like the Suzuki method, learn one song, then you keep learning them faster and faster. You can build on that. And out of that, like Brad said, with the objections, so there was a time where we did objections. You didn't literally write them on a piece of paper and put them in a hat and pick one out and how they handle it. But it really came down to a few core things. That's maybe not so much on the new patient, but just in phone calls in general of, hey, this is Terrence from Dr. McCall's office. That they're missed an appointment, whatever. It's either, oh crap, I forgot, I'm on my way. Oh, had a flat tire. I'm sick. No matter what it was, I was
quit.
Like, we're here till 7.
Right? I quit.
Well, I quit. Then it's like, I'm sorry to hear that. Let me, you should come in. That I can't do that for you. Let's bring you in to speak with the doctor. We don't handle those things on the phone.
Yeah.
I get it. If they keep pushing, go get the doc, put them on the phone, or schedule a time. But that's not that common, right? Really,
No, it's not.
As opposed to the others.
I
And
can't
really,
wait today.
yeah, really on the I quit, you don't want your staff to try to fix that. I've had that
No,
where, as
no.
opposed to, even if it's, I don't have the authority to do
Yeah,
that from a
yeah.
staff person. Let me get the
Listen,
doc on the phone now,
yeah.
or he's he's in with a new patient. I'm going to have him call you back in 30 minutes. Where will you
Mhm,
be? Whatever it
mhm.
might be, or tomorrow. But
Yeah,
if
it didn't matter how busy I was. If that was the phone call,
I'm taking it.
I'm taking it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But the other
Okay.
ones, I mean, the other ones they should be able to handle, oops, I forgot. Well, we can
We're here till
appreciate
7.
that. How about that same time tomorrow to make up the missed appointment today? Just
Correct.
simple stuff, you know? Don't give them a time, same time. Well, I can't make the same time. Okay, well, instead of that, we have 10 and 10:30.
Correct.
Don't, what's
Yeah.
good for you? We don't want to hear any of that,
Yeah.
which brings up the bigger issue. We're talking about a system, again, procedures, whatever you want to call it. I haven't come up with a really good way to frame what that is, policies, procedures, whatever. It is what it is. But the whole issue of scripting, I don't know how many times through the years I've been affronted with chiropractors who are like, scripting, I don't want scripting. You're saying somebody else's words. And I'm like, yeah, well, there's a reason you're only seeing 110 people a week. Maybe you should say my words, right? You don't have to say them like I say them, but obviously we might be saying the right thing, right?
Correct.
So, you get these guys coming right out of school, they don't know what to say. I remember my first report. Sharon threw me in a room and said, hey, go over these x-rays with this person. I just graduated, right? I thought I knew everything. I think I was in there for about 40 seconds, came out and looked at her and said, I have no idea what to say. If it wasn't for scripting at the beginning, I don't know. I don't know what but
And
you said it, Terrence. You put your personality in it, right? You make it your own after a while.
Yeah, but you have to, it's like any learning. If first, like myself, Mike, you got humbled really quickly,
Yeah.
but you took that knowledge and you're like, help me,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Mm-hmm.
somebody gave you their hand to
Mm-hmm.
raise you up to help you, and you took it. So you're very
Yeah. Yeah.
coachable. You wanted to be mentored. That's probably the biggest challenge for some of these docs. That they think they know better. Maybe they haven't been humbled enough, right? Uh, and then you take those words because those have been effective for somebody else and you use them. And after
Yeah.
you use them a while, then and only then can you make them your own.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you could be saying the exact same thing. That's what's
Yeah.
kind of scary after 40 plus years of practice. You say so many things, and I'm reluctant to say that they're mine.
Yeah. I don't know
I'm
if they are.
typically going, I don't know who said this, or if I said this, or any, right?
Yeah.
Uh, as opposed to this is the culmination of this, and it's different. It'll be different in
Mm-hmm.
another year, or it was different at 10 years, whatever it might be. But that's really the exciting thing about being in practice for a long time. And again, our profession is plagued with and like in any profession, everybody's searching for another shiny object and not just sticking to the core things. And I think, like, have coached so much, I think that's the biggest challenge for coaches to, I think, have a program and then look at them and say, all right, we're done. I'm now a mentor. Call me when you need me. It's
Mhm.
this little price, whatever
Yeah.
it may be, and check in as you need, or tell me what you do need, and we'll tailor
Yeah.
to your needs. But
Yeah.
most people lose connection then, right? Most, they'll do a program, whatever it might be, for 1 year or 2 years or 3 years, but they don't follow the same chiropractic principles of
Yeah.
maintenance, of continuing to stay sharp, work on the
Mhm.
craft, be aware, etc. Those sorts of things. I think it's a problem. Shiny object,
Yeah, they're a
shiny
problem.
object,
Yeah.
next shiny object, and we've
And
experienced it. So
yeah,
believe me, uh,
I don't know if that's just our profession or
I think it's
other
all professions. Yeah.
professions too, because I've never really looked at other professions. But I have. uh, piggybacking on what you said, and I'm pretty sure I learned this from Brad, or at least he made me think about this. When I get somebody new, I'm absolutely a teacher first. There's no coaching. I'm teaching them how to do a first phone call, how to do an R1 or first report or an X-ray report. I'm teaching them that stuff. And then once they get a handle on it, then I become a coach. Let's look at it a little bit differently. You know, maybe you can turn your wrist a little bit differently, or you can step into it a little bit better, or whatever that coaching is. And then it becomes, all right, now go. I'm here to mentor. I'm here to just, I'll give you advice when you call in and you ask for it, right? I'm
Right.
not going to give you advice if you're not asking for it, because, well, shit, you're not going to listen to it if you're not asking for it, right? I'm just giving
Right.
it at that point. You become more of a mentor. And I like the way that stacks up, and I'm not going to try to hold on to you. And well, let's face it, Brad, you and I have coached enough through the years. It's not something I want to do in this vein anymore. But I wouldn't mind stepping back and just saying, call me if you need me, right?
Well,
Maybe
I,
that's,
yeah, yeah.
I'm more interested in work dealing, it's terrible, right? But I'm gonna say it. I'm more interested in dealing with two people. One, the ones that are gonna actually do the work after you give them the advice. And two, the more experienced guy that's looking to tweak it, right? To grow his numbers higher than whatever. Let's say
Right.
500 or 400. Um, I don't know.
No, I agree.
Right?
What do you think, Brad?
I think the scripting and the training has to be a continuous process. And with our policies and procedures, we want to hit on that on a regular basis and try to stick to that as closely as possible. And as far as mentoring other doctors and coaching them, that's exactly right. You have to teach them first, but you also have to be able to look at their processes and see where their strengths are and where their challenges are and help guide them through that. But you're right, they've got to be willing to do the work. They've got to be willing to get in there and get their hands dirty, and try to move themselves forward.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to like through the years, I mean, I can think of one person in particular. If I was suggested to this young doctor to go outside, stand on one leg, throw his head back, and sing the national anthem, and he'd get 5 new patients next week, he wouldn't question it. He would go do it. And he would probably get 5 new patients just because of the intention and the energy put out, right? That's a great guy to coach. But then I've seen people through the years that are always in the front row. They're always taking notes. And then they go back to the office. They don't really change anything. And they used to upset me. But I had a realization later on that was, look, that was their process. That kept them in the game. If they didn't show up and they didn't take notes, they might have been out of practice 10 years ago. But they showed up, they took the notes, but they still saw the same amount of people. They made the same amount of money. They didn't grow, but they didn't fail either,
Right.
So to some degree, I learned a lesson there. They were principled, they were saying the right things. They just didn't grow, but they didn't fail either. So kind of had to accept that a little bit, you
Well,
know?
you really find out with that. So who wants to grow? So the question is, like, with that group of people, do they want to grow? And
Yeah,
the answer really is no.
no,
They want it, they're in their comfort zone or in the zone that
no,
they're like. And until people have a moment where they want to move out of that for whatever reason, then and only then can you
yeah,
pick up the coaching gauntlet and say, all right, let's go.
yeah,
And you know, I still say that, for myself, when I worked for my dad, I was great, humbled by not knowing anything, thought I knew everything. First week found out I didn't know anything. but I went to work then, right?
Sound familiar,
Reading
Brad?
this, yeah, reading the scripts or right, practicing, watching video, going to, all these different things. And then when I opened out here, that impulse, and what had been put out to us or me was, oh, you got to get to 300 a week as fast as you can. That was the number, right?
Yeah.
And so we did that. I did it really very quickly. And so then you get there, then you're like, okay, well, let's do a little bit better. So you get to whatever now, 400. So then I was just lucky that I always say I had never heard of 1,000 a week. I didn't even know that was a concept. So when Dr. Fred said that to me, I was like, huh, you mean, I always say it, we're allowed to do that? Or that's even something we can do? I was like, okay, so it's the same thing. Let's go and find somebody who, in my mind, who did that and tell me what you did. But it's still the same thing. None of us do it the same way.
Right.
No.
But you still have somebody who's, like, for me, just kept it there all the time. But you have to grab hold of it. Kind of, I mean, I assume, Mike, like yourself, it's like, let's go do this number, or let's go run a triathlon, or let's run a marathon, whatever it might be. It's like, I never thought about that. I mean, I can say that about a marathon. Steve Elliott said, you want to run a marathon? And I was like, I never heard of that before. You're aware of it, but you never. And it's like, okay. And then you go do the work, right? Or those sorts of things. So uh, you hit on it, Mike. They have to decide and come in. So if they join a program, then the question, like Brad, you said it, but you got to really press these people. What do you want?
Mm-hmm.
Really hard. I mean, and it could be the volume, could be a dollar amount, could be work less. I mean, you got to find out, right?
Yeah.
There's something in there, and then because that's where you're going to find out what they're willing to do.
Yeah.
Because if they tell you something and it's not real and they don't do the work, you're like, well, you didn't give me, in a few months, you should know, but you didn't give me the right goal because you aren't doing the work.
Doesn't drive them enough.
Yeah,
That goal has got to
nothing.
drive them to make the changes in their life to get out of their comfort zone.
Yeah.
Because that's what happens. We get comfortable in what we're doing in life. Maybe the guy's making enough money to pay his bills and he gets to go on vacation and his family is taken care of. But it gets to a point where that's not enough. Where it gets to a point where I want to really serve this community. I think that's why being mission-based and vision-based is important, is because you have to have that mission. My mission has always been to try to get as many families under chiropractic care as possible. My vision was that everybody should have their spine checked regularly by a chiropractor. So what do I have to do to fulfill that vision and mission? And that is pushing myself out of the comfort zone of where I'm at, where I'm seeing 50 a day or 100 a day or whatever. You have to be able to push beyond what you feel like you can do. It's like the same thing with running a marathon. Never thought you could run that far, but you can if you train for it.
Yeah, but most of the time, I think people, like, guy have been giving some mentoring ideas recently. He's 25, 20, whatever, and he's always been in that, let's say, 200 a week, and he's very comfortable, etc. And so when they set a goal, then it's like 250, and I'm like, does that really make you nervous? Does that really make you pee your pants a little bit? Or and it doesn't, because it's so close, right? And so that's where you really, like, even for yourself, Brad, it's like 1,000 a week. I mean, something that would, if you told somebody, that means something to you, someone who means something, your spouse or one of us or whatever, and it makes you nervous to say it, now you got a goal.
Yep.
That's in my mind. So that's, so I always say the only mistake I made, if I call it a mistake, was when I hit 1,000 at 1,100. It was like, nobody told me to go, there wasn't a motivation to go do more. Like 1,500 didn't, like, oh, okay, that's, it's a big number. That wasn't it. That wasn't going to push me, so I don't know what it would have been or could have been. So it just became, let's just stay in this 800, 900 or whatever it was, sort of thing. And that, part of that was out of, well, this is just what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
But there was, so I kept searching. That's why I did the neurology. That's why,
Mhm.
you're always like to do coaching. It's probably, more kids or tag on, with more things with the kid, all that sort of stuff. But I always say with coaching or other kind of whatever, it's got to make them a little nervous. So I had this guy challenge. I said, 200. I said, you should be thinking about 500. I mean, tell me a number that makes you nervous. And, so I don't know if he's going to do it, but at least he's applying some principles to try to change bigger things in his life, to think of, to make that move. Whether he gets there or not, it made him nervous to talk about it because he's in his 40s and it's like, yeah, he got some money, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But it's like,
If he shoots for 500 and hits 400, he's twice as good as he was before. So I think
correct.
that's you have to have those big, hairy, audacious goals to drive you,
Yeah, you got to go for it.
and
I
you got to
mean,
go for it too.
yeah. But not be I mean, again, don't be satisfied at 4, right?
Right, right,
That
right.
would be the other thing. Yeah, that
Be,
happens a
be,
lot.
be grateful, but never satisfied,
Correct. Yeah,
right?
this is awesome.
That's been a statement, I guess, mine since, and all three of us. I mean, we're competitors. That's what we do. We're always striving to get better, to do more, to see more. Certainly, we got into this profession to be servants, right?
Yeah,
Otherwise, I don't know why we're here. So
exactly.
if we got in this thing to be servants, then more numbers means more service, right? That's the way I have always looked at it, plain and
Right.
simple.
Simple,
Yeah,
simple, right? It's just it was just a number. I'd say all the time, it's just a number, but
Right.
it's the only way that we can measure it right now, right?
yeah, yeah.
And out of that came, I was always say, how do you, to the staff, how do you feel when you walk out of here and you serve whatever? Like
Terrible.
yesterday, just so you guys know, 300 yesterday, 6 new patients.
Yeah.
I was just there to, enjoy the run, to participate. But I'll tell you what, it's the smoothest 300 day we've ever had.
What happens
Yeah,
when you mature?
yeah,
What happens
never.
when you mature, Terrence? It's okay to let somebody else do all the work.
Yeah. I probably casually adjusted 100 people.
I,
Terrence did 200, and he had
yeah,
processed all the 6 new patients.
I know.
So it was just great, but it was smooth and simple. I think I'm happy. I think he was tired at the end of the day, but a good tired. You're
Yeah,
like, we did
sure.
this. Yep. And
I'll say this, and I'm sure it would get pushback from a lot of people. But if all I had to do was stand there and adjust, stand at the tables and adjust, and not have to do the new patients and the reports, 100 a day, or what did you just say? 125 a day? That'd be very casual.
Yes.
yes,
It would feel slow, probably, you know. And I've talked to chiropractors in the past that say, well, gosh, how long do you spend with a patient? And I'm like, "Well, I guess as long as it takes me to adjust my wife is about how much time I spend with everybody. So what's that? 3 minutes? That seems to be the number. Um, 3 minutes is a long time.
it is a long time.
It's a long time. And
Yes,
then
it
I'll hear
is.
guys say, oh, I like to sit down and spend 20 minutes with my patient. And I'm like, talk about exhausting,
Right.
you know?
More tired at the end
Uh,
of that day.
Yeah. And I will bet you, I would put everything on the line and bet you that my results are as good, if not better, than somebody, probably better than somebody that spends all that time. Because what are you doing
Agreed.
at that point? Right?
Agreed.
Find it,
100%.
fix it, leave it alone. I mean, it sounds simple, but you know what? If I'm not doing the healing, which I'm not, then why am I doing anything more than finding the subluxation, adjusting it, and maybe giving them a little bit of education and moving on?
Yep. Do what
If I
you
do
do
anything
best.
more than that, I'm getting in the way, right?
Well, then if you're there longer, what's he talking about? Then are you their counselor? Or are you their,
Yeah.
whatever, you don't have to do a healthcare class every visit.
Yeah.
Then you're selling, then you're convincing or selling or
Yeah.
something else. I don't even know. Uh, but and then if your technique demands you think that amount of time, then go find somebody who does that technique but does it more efficiently.
Yeah, yeah. Look, I'm all
Right?
about being technically certain in what you're doing. So if it takes you a little bit longer, it takes you a little bit longer, but make sure that you're doing it efficiently
Correct.
and
And
intently.
if you want to serve more people, find somebody who does that technique. That's the right biophysics.
Yeah,
It used to be the AK people, a half to spend or SO, what, these sorts of
whatever.
things. Well, then go find somebody who does it quicker. I didn't get to listen in on it. There was a neurology guy, and neurology people would say, "Oh, I got my diplomate," and of course it, just made my practice volume go way down. Right, that would be it because they think they have to spend more time. But there was a guy, he's doing a seminar, and it's in the care group of, oh no, you can still serve 100 a day and do neuro, right,
Yeah,
so to speak. But it's still the same thing. He's doing it in bites, right? You're not trying to fix everything, to use that term, in one visit. You're trying, as opposed to appreciating subluxation and nerve interference. You can't correct 20 years of damage in 2 visits. It's going to take time. Whatever your, if you think it's brain or, all those
yeah.
things, it's going to take a long time. Still takes 9 months to cook a baby and a lifetime to raise them. So I don't know why and even multi generations, right, Mike?
Yeah, yeah, right.
I see these young docs coming out of chiropractic school and they have that mentality that they've got to fix everything or give all the answers on every visit, and they're exhausted at the end. And then in my son's case, he is realizing how important it is to let all that go, to let go
Yeah.
of that. And I think Mike hit it on the nail on the head. He's not the healer. The healer's inside the person. All we're doing is removing the interference to him. And
Hmm.
once he got that mentality, then his process changed.
Hmm.
He's able to, and he's more effective in what he's doing.
Yeah, you'll appreciate this, Brad, and I know he won't mind me saying this. I was talking to Sam, and he said his first the way he started this comment was, um, maybe I don't know what I'm doing, but I don't know how you can train a team, do the marketing, everything that we do. And I said, yeah, you're exactly right. Stop. You're exactly right. You don't know what you're doing. You've only been out of school, what, 2 months, 3 months?
Mhm.
I said, just stop, relax, realize and understand, and it's okay. You don't know what you're doing yet. Take a deep breath. Do as well as you can, and he's doing well.
Yep.
He's doing very well. I don't like it. It's just like, stop thinking that you need to know everything. That's why you have your dad and me and all these coaches and mentors. Take a deep breath. You'll learn it, right? I don't know everything,
Mm-mm.
not even close.
But that's the fun. You don't know everything,
Yeah, I know. And I'm looking for new things, right?
right? Curious.
I had this thought the other day because I don't like the word retired. So I've decided that I'm not retired anymore. I'm rewired.
Rewired. Nice.
Right? I'm not done. I'm not
Right.
finished. I'm just looking for other challenges and other
Correct.
things to do. Right? Like you said, Terrence, 1,000. Okay, been there. 1,500. Do I just keep doing it to keep doing it, or do I go ahead and say, all right, I can teach somebody else to do this, and that's kind of being rewired. But also, I can find other things to do. You
Right.
know, I don't think. I thought for the years and years that my purpose was, and it still is, to serve humanity. Well, I did that through chiropractic. Did it well, and I'm still doing it, right? But that's not my purpose. My purpose is bigger than that. You know, it's to do that and also be a good father, a good grandfather, just a good man, right? And serve humanity that way. So I get tired of hearing, you don't have a purpose anymore. Screw you. I think my purpose is bigger than it's ever been. I'm just rewired and figuring out what it is that I need to do to serve that purpose. Shit, it might be just sitting still and teaching my grandchildren to be better, right? I don't know. But
Well, I
a
think this
purpose,
is part of it for us.
yeah.
This,
What's the name of that
this,
book? But we all read it. The book that I think Terrence gave me for Christmas last year. Gosh, cannot
The
think of the name.
die broke or that one, Mike.
Nah, it's terrible. It'll come to me. Can't think of it.
No,
Strength
I
to
think,
strength.
you know, we're stewards
Strength to
and you're
strength.
still, say again.
Strength to
Oh,
strength.
Strength to Strength. That was a great
Yes.
book.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah, I mean, we're still stewards. I mean, it's like we've talked about chiropractic philosophy. It's not chiropractic. It's a great philosophy to transfer to everybody. And what would be wrong if you're just a fantastic grandfather, spouse, and you know what greater thing when somebody's remembering us to remember
Mhm.
that.
Mhm.
I don't want to be thought of as a great chiropractor. I'd like to be thought of as a great man,
Yeah.
a great husband, a great father, that I'd much rather have that.
Mhm.
And oh, by the way, he did have a successful career over
Yeah.
here, but it really was that he was using all these things of who he was as this to drive that boat. And that's the best thing.
Yeah. And that might be the foundation and the reason why we all are as successful as we are. I'll use the word. Define it any way you want,
Thank
right?
you. You're correct. Brad used about doing this as a part of our legacy or passing it on. And every time I keep having this discussion, the people in our profession, everybody's just selling so
Mm-hmm.
hard and for so much, right? Because they're still trying to shortcut it to more money as opposed to more
more
service,
service.
right? Um, and I do believe it's happening in every profession. I don't care because I only care about our profession because it's
That's the
the
way to
one
put
I
it.
know.
Yeah.
It's the one we know.
Right.
And again, I know I've talked about this. Maybe we'll talk next time more. But we're lacking real leadership everywhere,
Mm-hmm.
but particularly
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. We don't have any leadership
Yeah.
because they don't know what to lead. They don't know how to
Yeah.
lead. They're not. They're just not willing to um, serve.
Yeah.
Right. That balance.
Yeah. Agreed. Agreed. I had this thought, and I know Brad has heard this story before. I know I had this thought about the whole scripting thing, and maybe this kind of where we started. We can finish there. Um, I think it was A Few Good Men, the movie A Few Good Men.
Yeah.
Jack Nicholson. You know that what's the famous line from that movie?
You can't handle the truth.
Right. You don't remember any other line except for "You can't handle the truth." Um, that was a script,
Oh, yeah.
right? That
He
was a
was only
script.
in the movie for a couple minutes.
6 minutes total,
Yeah,
I think is what it was. He was in that movie 6 total minutes. And the most remembered line was, "You can't handle the truth." And he didn't even write it. Wasn't even his words. But you believed him, didn't you?
Yeah.
because he
Right? He
made it
owned
his
them.
words.
He made them his words. That's the thing about scripting, you know? They don't have to be your words. I told CJ once, I don't want to be CJ Mertz. And he said, I don't want you to be either. But boy, did his words work when I made them my own, right?
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Think of
And
how many times did Jack Nicholson practice that?
well, here's an interesting thing. I just heard a story Rob Reiner was telling that he said, he asked Jack, he said, "Do you want me to film you first?" Right? To kind of like get it out of the way. He said, because they had to do all these camera angles to pick up Demi Moore and Tom Cruise. And Jack was like, nah, you film me last. So they would do the scene as the cameras changed to film all these other people's reaction. And Rob Reiner said he delivered that line the same way every single time. He could have filmed him on the first one. So he came prepared, right? They
Yeah.
weren't his words. He learned them. He put himself in them. But the biggest thing is he showed up, right? He showed up prepped. He didn't waste anybody's time, and they did it right.
He was ready.
Yeah, that's the way we should. So
Consummate professional.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, being professional.
And,
Right.
and he was building upon at that time, who, I don't know, let's say he's 50 years old,
Yeah,
however many years of being a professional, so
yeah,
that all of his infrastructure,
yeah.
like it's simple, it's just not easy, right?
Yeah,
All his
Right.
training, all his practice, all his rehearsal, all his preparation
Correct.
drove him to that level. That's why he was
You
as
know,
great as he is.
yeah, he showed up, right? We talk about this. I talk about it all the time in the case of coaching other chiropractors. When do you stop coaching them? When they stop showing up. You can read into that however many ways, but if somebody doesn't come early, come prepared, and not waste your time, that's not showing up, right?
Correct.
It's not being professional. So I don't know. Maybe we should talk about that next time.
I like it.
What we do. What we do to know that we're showing up, or whatever you want to call it, our disciplines, our process, whatever you want to show, whatever you want to call it.
Sounds good.
I
All
like
right.
it.
I like
I
that.
like it.
Cool
Mike,
beans.
have a great time at the game. Send me
I
a
will.
picture of you and the troops.
Yeah.
Just you and
Yeah.
Thatcher. I don't need the rest of them.
Teddy also.
Yes. Yes. All right,
All
guys.
right,
Thank
cool.
you.
All right, I love you
Appreciate
guys.
it.
Yeah,
I'll
we'll talk
talk to you
next month.
soon.
All right. Bye now.
Bye for now.
Thank you.